Welcome back, everybody. Here's another new story for you. This time, it's another house. No, not the one without doors. This one's much different. It's the one no one enters.
The Whispering Woods. Nestled in the shallowest reaches of the old woods on the outskirts of the town of Middle River stood a house like no other, a looming, weather-beaten structure that seemed to absorb the silence around it. As its roof sagged under the weight of decades of despair, the paint was flaking off like old scabs from a wound, and its windows stared blankly into the darkness of the forest as the only witness to the insanity that took place. The house was infamous, and no one dared enter, at least not willingly. The cult-like family and the mass suicide. People would whisper about the family who had lived there since before the 1960s. They would wear old-fashioned clothes from the turn of the 19th century, rarely spoke to outsiders, and vanished into the trees of the darkened forest at dusk with flickering lanterns. Some said they held strange rituals in the dead of night, chanting in languages no one recognized or heard before. Whispers grew darker when, one autumn night, the entire family was found lifeless in a circle of salt beneath the warped beams of the parlor, their faces serene, yet ghostly pale. The town reeled at the news. That's when rumors surged that they'd taken part in a mass suicide, driven by some unspoken pact or ancient grief. From that day onward, the house became a boundary between the ordinary and the uncanny, an echo chamber for the town's fears, and the genesis of dares that would haunt generations to come. In 1970, the house was sealed from within by tragedy. That mass suicide left the town reeling. That's when the state authorities decided to board the windows and padlock the doors, leaving it to rot in solitude. For over a decade, the house was left untouched, its secrets festering behind nailed timbers and rusted locks. Until... Legend of the Dares. By the mid-1980s, the house became a proving ground for the bravest, or most foolish, young teens in the neighborhood would dare each other as a coming-of-age type bet. Most were spoken of in hushed tones. They would draw up a list in notebooks, crossing off names when someone mustered up the courage to. "Spend a night in the house," they'd say. "Bring back something to prove you were in there." Throughout the 80s, local kids dared to approach the porch on moonless nights, driven by a mix of bravado and fear. The bravest among them sometimes managed to reach out, touching the faded front door, but few ever crossed the threshold. Those who did pass that point returned changed, if they returned at all. That when the tales grew with each retelling, painting the house as a place where courage dissolved and nightmares were born, fewer than a handful ever came back. The missing and the broken. It started with 15-year-old Michael Hargrove, whose sneakers were found on the porch steps as if he was pulled out of them, laces still tied, but Michael himself was never seen again. Then came Anna Lee, who stumbled back through the woods at dawn, eyes wide and darkened with terror, her mind seamlessly lost to silent screams. Years would go by as the asylum grew crowded with the broken souls who had crossed that threshold. Stories filled the town, of voices in the dark, ghostly faces in the windows, and hands that reached out from behind the boards. Those who vanished after entering the house were never seen again, their names etched in graffiti on the trees surrounding the old house, the town's only memorial. Others returned but were never quite the same. Some spoke in riddles, some stared off into space for days, and a few refused to say a word about what transpired inside, for the fear of whatever was there would pursue them. The adults dismissed these stories as pranks or overactive imaginations, but late-night whispers told of strange marks found on the explorers and nightmares that plagued them for years. A house that hungers. Many today would say the house itself is cursed, that it hungers for the living and feasts on their fear and flesh. Others whisper that the cult's spirits still roam the halls, reliving the night of their doom and dragging the curious into their embrace. The bravest teens, now adults with haunted eyes, still shudder at the memory of what they had seen. Yet, the house remains, standing silent and watchful at the edge of the woods for its next forgotten group of children to wander too close. To this day, the legend endures, its weight pressing upon every generation. The house looms at the edge of memory, a silhouette in the moonlit woods that refuses to fade into obscurity. Children learn early to avoid its shadow, and even grown men find reasons to steer clear. Its reputation has shaped the town's rituals, the unspoken rules about where not to wander, and what stories are best left untold. As autumn winds rattle its boarded windows, rumors persist that the house is waiting, patient, eternal, and always hungry for the next soul bold enough to cross its threshold. Those who pass by quicken their steps, glancing back only once, as if to reassure themselves that the darkness behind those walls hasn't noticed them yet. The house no one enters. Now being 2025, children cross to the other side of the street when passing the woods. On Halloween, no one dares trick-or-treat anywhere near the old path that leads to the house. It stands as a warning and a legend. Its history is both a mystery and a horror. No one knows what truly happened behind those splintered boards and shadowed halls, and if you listen long enough, late at night, you may hear a faint whisper in the wind, a chilling invitation carried on the night air, daring the bold and taunting the cautious. Enter, if you dare, but you may never leave. The house's legend weaves into the very fabric of the town's fears, its silence and a promise that some secrets are meant to remain unspoken. While the windows stand hollow and the shadows inside shift with each passing cloud, the temptation lingers for those who cannot resist the pull of the unknown. And so, each generation is haunted not only by what happened, but by what might still lurk within, waiting for the next soul, brave or foolish enough to heed the call. Enter, if you dare, but you may never leave.